dangerous text. It changes the whole why and wherefore of worship. But what is at the base of it is, who is God? Is God an angry deity to be appeased? Or is it a loving, living God that each time we come together joyfully, we will remember Christ in our midst? And so it begs the question, what is in the way of our worship? What causes us, provokes us to stumble, to be distracted, to not be able to focus or hear clearly the living, loving voice of God in our midst? Now, as many of you know, we at El Milagro are dismembering our physical structure over there. Good nightmares. What a lot of stuff. There is an amazing amount of stuff that the church accumulates over the course of years and decades and even a century. And we are dismembering that, and we are very thankful for many Calvary members who are in that process with us, helping to say, okay, let's bring this over, let's keep that there. 5 pianos, really, 5 pianos. Daniel's played all of them now. When we consider how much stuff, and I'm now not just talking about the church temple as building, but let's talk about our own souls. Did you ever hear about the story of stuff? Worth a look if you're into that kind of story of stuff. www.thestoryofstuff.org, I think it is. Just Google it. Talks about how enamored, how our whole economy, commerce, everything is about the acquiring and the throwing away of stuff. No? And how much stuff we, as a civilization in this country, is almost champion, probably, in some respects, with stuff, technological stuff, and all this kind of stuff, and how stuff really blocks up our being, our landfills, our ecology, our effects deeply who we are. I'm wondering how much stuff we accumulate in our souls. The word resentment, back to Latin here, resentire, is to refeel. Literally, to resent, or resentire, is to refeel. And we store up negative, generally, awful, nasty feelings that we take out and refeel. Anger, hurt, abandonment, aloneness, rejection. When we resent, we take those out and refill them. Where do we store those things? How are they stored? In our soul. How many things have we accumulated in our soul that keeps us from really receiving the holy and healing word of Christ? When we are declared forgiven, do we believe it? Are we willing to let go of all of those things that really block up our soul? Today's text is a challenge for us to really give up. Not chocolate, as you'll see, that would be just over the top for many of us for Lent. But rather, how about if we do a fast of resentment? Let's declare a fast of judgment of one another. What about if we declare a fast of anger? Free-floating anger. Anxiety, how about that? That's one of my personal favorites. The anxiety, which is actually will and desire to control the future. Lack of faith in God's providential hand. How about if we declare a fast of all those things that clog up our soul and keep us from receiving this life-giving water and this loving and healing word of God? That's the challenge from today's gospel. And so as we gather and as we come forth to receive and remember Christ in our midst, we are called to really let go of those things that clog up our heart and soul and hear again, as though for the first time, those healing and holy words. God has called us and named us and claimed us as God's own children. And Jesus, in cleansing the temple, invites us to cleanse our own hearts, our own souls, to once again come together and remember Christ in us, through us, with us. In Jesus' holy name. Amen.